Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part two of which characters are most likely to do drugs. And I know this has been long awaited by many of you, including Will. Um, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off today's characters, I have Embo, the bounty hunter from the Clone Wars and then from the recent Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And do I think he would do drugs? Honestly, yeah, I kind of do. He's a bounty hunter. Bounty hunters usually, not usually, but bounty hunters are kind of known for, doing things sometimes. and he seems like that kind of fella. But also, on the other hand, bounty hunters have to be, smart and, agile and all that kind of stuff to be at maximum efficiency for their hunting missions. So that would kind of mess that up. So it could go either way, but I don't think so. The next character I have on the list is General Grievous, and I think he might have done some in the past because he has a giant cough. Either that or he has extremely bad asthma, but I don't know. So I don't think he would nowadays, because I think if he did, it would probably like mess with his, limited organs and his cybernetics and whatever. So I don't think so. I'm gonna put him in the no category. Next up, I have Maul, and this really is debatable. I think in his younger age, like Phantom Menace or before, he might have. But I think in like the later days, like the Solo movie or the Maul Shadow Lord show, I don't think he would. I think he's too mature for that now. Like in the Maul Shadow Lord show, if you've seen it, that he's actually gotten really mature and he's like, he's a really cool villain now. Not that he wasn't before. He was before. He was like, a cool villain, but we didn't really know much about him. He didn't really have any lines at all. But now they made him a lot more like mature and advanced, and he's like actually a really good villain now. So I don't think so. I'm gonna put him in the no category. The next character I want to talk about is Papa Palps, also known as Darth Sidious. And yeah, I'm sure he's done some drugs. Yeah, I'm absolutely positive. He's unk, bro. Of course he has at one point. Everybody who's really unk did. But yeah, he seems like that kind of fellow. Like when he was training under Darth Plagueis, maybe, or before. I don't know. He's just really old. I think he's like 90 or something. So I'm sure he has at one point. But I have no clue to tell for sure. My goodness, I can't talk. But I'm gonna say yes. Next, I have R2D2, and I don't even know how that would work. Like, he doesn't have a mouth or a nose, so I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but if it did, I would say no, because R2D2 is like, a wholesome fella. He's, the goated best droid. He's awesome, he's cool, he's fun. He's always looking after the Skywalkers getting into trouble. And, and Rey, which is not a Skywalker, but she also gets into trouble. And he just seems like the kind of droid that wouldn't if he could. So I'm gonna put him in no. For the next character, I have Captain Rex, and we all know the answer to this one. It's no. Captain Rex would never. Also, considering he's a clone, and I don't think clones really would have access to that, so that kind of limits it. But even if he did, he's such like a chill, nice guy, kind of like R2, that he wouldn't. He's such a good dude. He just would not ever do any drugs or whatever. Like maybe if he got old and was like a homeless hobo like that other 501st Trooper in the Obi-Wan show, maybe, but he wasn't. I think I don't know if it's canon or not, but he fought in the Battle of Endor, and also in Rebels we saw him fighting the Empire on his like ATT or whatever. So he was always a good guy, like from birth or whatever the heck you call that in the cloning facility to the Rebel show and the Empire era. So yeah, we all know the answer. It's no. Next we have another clone, that one being Echo, and Basically the same thing with Captain Rex. Definitely no. Echo's a good dude, even after his like cybernetic stuff. He's still a great dude. He wouldn't do any drugs. I don't really have to talk about that. He just wouldn't. Next, I have the GOAT of Star Wars, Ben Quaterneros. And my boy Ben would never do anything. He is too awesome to do anything. Ben is the GOAT. Ben is the chosen one. But in all seriousness, I don't think he would. He's like a pod racer, but he seems like a show pod racer. Like Sebulba, if it was Sebulba, he definitely would. Like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna add Sebulba to this list. Hold on. After Ben Quaterneros, I'll go over Sebulba. But Ben would definitely not. And I was not planning on adding him, but next up we have Sebulba, and Sebulba definitely would. He's like, a Doug, he's like a, dirty pod racer. He definitely would. That's like the equivalent of like a gang member or like, something like that. So he totally would. I don't even really need to say anything else. Next up we have Din Djarin, and I'm gonna say no on this one. He also seems like a wholesome dude. I mean, especially after he met Grogu and whatever. I don't think he would like at all, because nowadays he's like a chill dad, like a cool dad. So I don't think he would. Maybe in like a weird situation or something, but he seems like the type of guy that if he did, he might get addicted. But I still don't think he even would try. So I'm gonna put him in the no category. And going right along with him, I have Grogu. And I know, Grogu is technically a child for his species, but he is over 50 years old, so he's fine for this list. And I'm still going to say no. He's like a little baby. He wouldn't even really know, I don't think. I mean, I'm not saying he's not smart, as we saw in the new Mando and Grogu movie. He is pretty smart, stealing the fish and feeding Din Djarin when he was injured, stuff like that, and like whatever else. So I think he definitely could if he wanted to, but I don't think he wants to. He's also like, force sensitive. He's like Jedi almost. So, yeah, I'm going to put him in no. And the last character I want to talk about is C3PO. And kind of the same thing with R2D2. I don't really know how that would work. I mean, C3PO does have like a mouth, but it's not like an actual mouth. It's like what do you call that? Like a robot thing, a vocabulator, if that's what it's called. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think that would really work. He doesn't have a nose either. I don't think so. If he could, we'll go with the same thing like R2. If he could, would he? And I'd say no. I don't think he would even like want to. Like, he's just not that kind of fella. He'd be like, "Oh my, I would never do such a thing," or something. So, yeah, I can't do that voice very well, but I'm gonna put him in the no category. And I know this video was kind of short, but that wraps it up. And yeah, let me know any other video ideas you want in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.